Okay, so come to lie down on your back in constructive rest. So feet as wide as your mat if you're using one, if not, just a little wider than hip width, knocking your knees into the middle. Take some time to let your body settle in this shape. This class is all based on different movements that the spine can make. So for now, just enjoy your spine being fully supported by the ground. Notice the parts of your body that are held by the ground. So the base of your spine and your shoulders will be the most obvious. See if you can travel your awareness down from the back of your head to the space that's not supported beneath your neck, so that big vacant space. And then continue to travel your awareness down to the space that is supported at your shoulders. And then again, the vacant space, where does that start? From below your shoulder space to the base of your spine. Perhaps you've got quite a high arch in your lumbar spine, or perhaps it's quite low. Depends how your pelvis is sitting right now. And then again, follow your awareness down to the space behind your pelvis, which is firmly rooted to the floor. And then that huge vacant space below your legs, that big arch, big triangle where your knees are bent. And then bring your awareness down to your feet, which are firmly grounded. And we're going to begin with a really simple breath that we introduced a couple weeks ago, counting to 10. So an inhale is 1, an exhale is 2, inhale 3, exhale 4, all the way up to 10. And once you get to 10, reset and start again, back on your inhale at 1 and your exhale at 2. So once you're ready, maybe take a sigh first to cleanse, and then begin that breath. Once you get to your next 10, you can either continue with your counting or you can stop, it's your call. And keeping your feet as wide as they are, separate your knees so that your knees stack roughly on top of your ankles. So you should feel that your feet and your knees are wider than hip width. If they feel narrower than hip width, then walk your feet a little wider. From here, let your hands rest on your belly first of all. Think of this as a kind of grounding point. And then allow your knees to fall out to the right hand side. So it's a very wide twist in the legs. And you'll probably find that your knees hover here or they bob. It's unlikely that they're going to reach the ground. Now, before we do anything at all, decide if you would like some support underneath your knees. So this can come in many forms. You can put some blocks underneath your knees as a little support, maybe on their highest settings, like 2 little platforms. Or you can put your pillow or bolster between your legs and you can kind of cuddle it with your thighs. Then from here, turn your head over to the left and notice how that subtly twists your spine. And extend your arms. So a really simple, wide, supine twist. You don't need to have support for your knees in this twist, so you can let your knees bob over to the right hand side. And you'll feel the left side of your back body is starting to peel up off the floor. If you use props here, you're going to find that the back of your left bum cheek is closer to the floor. If you're not using props, your left hip is going to peel up off the floor a little more. Just depends what you're wanting to play with tonight. Throughout the class, we're going to explore the range of motion that our spine can experience. So right now, got a gentle twist. Two more breaths like this. Okay, once you're ready, peel your knees up through center and all the way over to the left. You might need to grab your props if you're using props. So both your knees are waving over to the left and they're very wide. I don't think I've taught this version of a supine twist before, so it might feel a bit alien in some of your bodies and you might be craving drawing your knees together, but try and keep them wide. Turn your gaze over towards the right. Notice if your shoulders have shrugged up to your ears, and if they have, walk your shoulder blades down the mat. Often when we take asana poses like this, where a part of our body is hovering and gravity is pulling it downwards, we tend to subtly, or maybe not so subtly, tense up and clench muscles to support our legs, because naturally we don't want them to fall. But just trust that you're close to the ground, that your body's got you. See if you can release a little tension in your hips, in your legs, in your spine. You might find that that tension is somewhere really small, like your toes. Maybe you're curling your toes or your fingers. Another 2 breaths here. Okay. Wave your knees back through center. And from here, we'll take happy baby. So hug your knees into your chest. Make sure your props are off to the side. And you can either hold onto the back of your legs here and peel your knees out towards your armpits. Or you can send your feet to the sky and grab onto the outsides of your feet with your hands. If you do that, make sure that your elbows are threading to the inside of your legs. We want to try and keep our head and our shoulders grounded. If that's not possible tonight for whatever reason, make sure you've got a support for your head. So you could grab a block and take it underneath your head, or a bolster or pillow. Notice how your lumbar spine has a lot more contact with the ground here. Especially if you find you've got a bit of a pelvic tilt and you have quite a kind of, if you often stick your bum out whilst you're standing, you might find that you've got really comfortable rounding in the spine here with your happy baby shape. And you've got this nice sense of support that you wouldn't usually experience. Let your breath fill up any vacant space. So your tummy's got loads of space in front of it right now. See if you can really push it out as you breathe in. Four more breaths here. With every inhale, expand your chest and your belly. And with every exhale, let your spine feel a little more supported by the ground. If things are starting to feel fiery in the hips, embrace that rather than shying away. And then hug your knees to your chest, close your hips off, and maybe take a little rock from side to side. Okay. From here, roll over to one side and push yourself up slowly to a seat. So if you've got a wee bit of head rush, take your time. if you've got a bolster, grab that. If you've not, grab your pillows and your blocks. Actually, if you've got blocks or books, I'd grab them too. Now, we're gonna make a sort of a bolster for our body. So if you've got a bolster, you're fine. If you've not, then Mona's gonna be my bolster apparently. If you've not got a bolster, then grab books or blocks and place them about a third of the way down your mat, maybe a little more, like this. And then put your put your cat or your pillow on top of it, like that. And if you got blankets, you can get them too. We want to just make a nice soft platform for us that is horizontal across our mat. And you can get creative with it if you've got alternative props. Okay. If you've got anything extra, like an extra pillow or an extra block, have that above your bolster. Then from here, some of you might end up facing the wrong way here because I always forget to tell you what side to put your bolster on. Have the bolster on your left-hand side if it's not a pain. And it's always the opposite way to the way you'll do it. Sorry, guys. Okay. And then from here, we're gonna lay the side of our chest down, the side of our rib cage over our bolster setup. So come to lay down on your left hip and then plant your chest on the bolster. So the left side of your rib cage, sorry, not your chest, on the bolster. And you don't want the bolster to be too high towards your armpit here. We're trying to get the rib cage area. And then take your head into your hand, on your left hand. And we're gonna see how our body feels just now. So if this is feeling like, oh, a little bit uncomfortable, a little bit tight, see if you need to add some more proppage, pillows, or blankets or anything. If it's feeling quite quiet, then we can think about turning the volume up, maybe by releasing our head either towards our left arm or towards that block that we've set up. If you're using a block, I would extend your left arm out in front of you and take your head to the block like that. And now what we want to avoid is a crunching up of the left ear to the shoulder. We want to get as much length as possible, so you might even need to shimmy yourself upwards. I'll come and have a look to see how you're getting on, because this is an awkward one to get into sometimes. And it does feel kind of crunchy sometimes. Yeah, okay, you've all got it. Good. Okay, now your right arm might be happy where it is, just on your hip. Or you might want to reach it up and overhead and trail it over the top of your body, over the top of your head even. Good. And then option here again for a volume turn up, extend your legs. So this is actually banana asana, which we usually take on our back. We've just changed it up a little bit, getting a really nice lateral stretch, lateral flexion in the spine. Nice. If you're extending the right arm, let your right arm be heavy. Try not to be active in any way. And once you're feeling settled in the shape, draw your attention towards your breath and see if you can create almost a push-pull relationship between whatever props you're using below the left side of your ribs and your breath. So it's kind of tug of war between your breath and the prop. Last week, our focus was on this sense of feedback. Try and tap into that tonight. Okay, so Elaine, we are just lying on the left side of our body with a bolster or pillow set up underneath our rib cage, like this. Take your time getting there, Elaine. Nice, and your knees can be in towards your chest, or you can extend your legs. And you've got the option to release your head down towards your block, or you can reach your arm up and overhead. So your call. I know that you've done this shape before, so you can play with it. Perfect. So everyone apart from Elaine, we're going to prepare ourselves for coming out of this shape. So first things first, if your right arm is overhead, take your right hand back down towards your hip. Then from here, use your right hand to press into the floor and peel yourself up. Be very careful because you're going to be super open. Now just shove your props out the way and come to lie down either on your back or your belly, whatever your body feels like it wants to do right now. Nice, lovely. Good options, everyone. Elaine, I'm just going to cue you for this one because you'll have a shorter period in it. Those of you in your resting pose, see if you can use your breath to fill up the space that was missing space. So the left-hand side, which was feeling a little bit, that was in that kind of push-pull relationship. Now give it the space to expand out to the left with your breath. Elaine, start to prepare yourself for coming out of the shape. And Elaine, once you're ready, lie on your belly or your back. Everybody else, we're going to set ourselves up for the second side. So we're going to create the same prop set up for the right side of the ribs. And if you felt like something wasn't quite right with your props, oh, and Annette, I like your bolster. If you felt like something wasn't quite right with your props, use this time to sort that out now. Yeah, good, Joy, nice. So once you're ready, start to lay your body down towards the right-hand side. And try not to jump into the shape, even though it's familiar now. Take those small baby steps, just like you did before, to reach your final version of the shape. once you're ready, start setting up for your right hand side. Let's all start to bring ourselves out of the pose now. So again, take your left hand down to the side of your body first of all. And then push yourself up to a wee seat this time. So we're not lying on our back. Any seat that's comfortable for you. And just close down your eyes and sit as tall as you can. Notice if one shoulder is feeling a little higher than the other. If you've still got this desire to lean over to one side or the other. And as you inhale, reach your arms up and overhead and clasp your hands together. And then flip the grip. Keep your arms up, take a big exhale and let your shoulders soften. Inhale, push up with your hands. Exhale, let your shoulders soften. One more time, breathe in. This time as you exhale, let your hands come back down by the sides of your body. Lovely. Okay, we're gonna keep that bolster where it was. If you need to kind of plump it up a bit, that's fine. And if you have got an extra block or something, keep that where it was too. So maybe half a foot away from your bolster. And from here, we're gonna take fish pose. So with bolsters, this can be quite dramatic. If you're using made up bolsters with pillows and cushions and things, it's a little softer. So turn around so you're facing away from your props. And the props are gonna be a support for our upper spine here. We want our shoulder blades to be kind of draping over the top of the bolster or whatever you're using. If you're using something which is quite uneven, then like if you're using blocks with pillows and things on top of it, you can just use the blocks instead. But I think from what I saw, looking into your cameras, you've all got quite a good setup here. So once you're ready, drape yourself over your prop setup. Have a nice bend in your knees and try and get the base, the tips of your shoulder blades over the other side of the bolster. So your shoulders are going to be hanging here. And it's this kind of midsection of your spine that's going to have the big back bend. And from here, let your arms go wide, palms facing upwards. And you should feel your shoulders melting down towards the floor. If you have a support for your head, use it to start off with, because again, it's quite a dramatic shape. I know that some of you love this without the head support, but just be patient. Now your feet can do what you want here. They can stay grounded to the floor. You can extend them, or you can take your feet to touch and let your knees go wide. That final option, the Baddha Konasana option, is lovely, but it will create an even more pronounced arc in your lumbar spine. So if you've got anything going on in your lumbar spine or anything going on in your lower back at all, just be very careful and be very attuned to what your body is telling you, whether this is a good shape or a shape to be cautious in. Reintroduce the breath count that we were playing with at the beginning of class. So that counting to 10, inhale 1, exhale 2, inhale 3, exhale 4. We need to be really cautious as we exit this pose because it's a very dramatic shape in the spine. So I would suggest rolling yourself to one side first of all, and then slowly pushing yourself up to a seat. Take your time. Okay. Once you're seated, do take your time if you're not ready yet. You can either, depending on your energy level, take your bolster to the other side of your mat, or you can just swing yourself round so you're now facing the bolster. I don't mind if that means you're facing away from the screen. Take your legs over your prop. Have a bit of width between your legs, so maybe hip width or wider. And then sit up really tall. Your spine is still going to be feeling like ugh at the moment. We're going to just close that right off by leaning forward into Paschimottanasana. Nice, soft forward fold. If you're using quite hard props, you can just take a big bend in your knees here, or you can use your cushions below you. And as always, you can play with how you do the folds. You can hold your head in your hands. You can take your hands to your feet and let your head flop. If you've got enough of a prop set up, you might be able to support your head with props as well, maybe with blocks. And let your inhale here kind of soften and cushion the space behind your ribs that's just had this huge back bend. And let your exhale draw you closer towards the floor in your forward fold. Remember what I said at the beginning of class. When we allow gravity to take hold of things, often our body is a little reluctant and tenses up a touch to try and soften the blow, but we want to really let go here. So make sure you're not holding tension in your toes, in your jaw, your hips, or your back. We've got another 7 or 8 breaths here. If you'd like to turn the volume up, you can remove the props that are below your legs, and you you can let your legs straighten out a little more. And it'll add a bit of spice to your hamstrings. It might give you a nice little sciatic nerve stretch. You can, if you want to, reach towards your feet, flex your feet. So draw your toes towards your heels and then just draw your chest a little further forward. Okay. Start to walk yourself up to a tall seat. And then come to lie all the way down onto your back. If you've got the props there, keep them. If you don't, it's fine. You can come into a Shavasana shape. Not quite Shavasana yet. Hands can rest where you want. If you're feeling like you need some stretch, a bit of space, you can reach your arms overhead. If you're wanting to feel a little bit more insular, you can keep your hands towards your body. When you're ready, draw your knees in towards your chest, nice and tight. And then allow your knees still close to your chest to roll over to the left-hand side. You might want to take your left hand to the outside of your right leg as a little anchor. So we're in a twist now. Then send your gaze towards the ceiling. Shuffle your left shoulder towards the left, just a touch, and extend your right arm out to the right. Option to keep your gaze upwards or turn your gaze over your right shoulder. Hopefully getting quite a nice sensation in the right hip, maybe even in the groin a touch, and towards the back of the right side of your spine. You've got your options here. You can keep your knees hugged like this towards one another, or you can wrap your legs around each other maybe once or twice in a Garudasana shape. And I always say this when we do a twist at the end of class, but I always think it's like wringing out your spine. bringing out the final little dribbles of tension. Draw your knees back into the center of your chest, rolling onto your back again. And then take the twist straight over to the right. So keep your knees in tight. Take your twist to the right. Maybe walk the right shoulder across the mat a touch. You can keep your right hand down on your left leg. And look towards the sky. Extend your left arm to the left. You can stay like this or look over your left hand. And remember, you can wrap your legs up a little tighter if you'd like to, crossing them around each other. And the reason I'm wanting you to keep your knees in closer to your chest if possible tonight is because the closer towards the chest our knees are in a twist, the higher up the back we're going to feel the twist. And we've done a lot of stuff in our kind of upper lumbar and thoracic spine tonight. Bring your knees back in through center. And then set yourself up for Shavasana. You might already be in the shape you want to be in. If you've still got those props or that bolster at the bottom of your mat, you can take your knees on top of it. If there's another shape you'd like to take, please do. Make sure whatever you take is really supportive on your back. I'd recommend a little lift in the knees if possible. Let your shoulders roll away from your ears. Let your breath soothe any parts of your body that are feeling achy overstretched or stressed still. Close your eyes and slip into a nice restful state. wanting to stay where you are, please do. Otherwise, begin deepening your breath. I'll let you stay grounded tonight. We can finish with one deep breath together. Breathe in through your nose and sigh. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a lovely week, and I'll see you very soon. Lots of love.